Hello everybody, and welcome to what I can only assume will be a very, very long video. You guys sent me all your questions, and I believe we hit around 84 of them in total. So I've taken the liberty of grouping some of them up into a total of 59 groups of questions, because some of them were kind of the same. There were a lot of people who wanted to know what my favorite bands were. So I've put them in these groups, and I'm gonna answer them in pretty much a random order. But before we begin, I just want to say thank you to all of you. Thank you for watching my videos. Thank you for tuning in every now and again. And especially thank you to my Patreon supporters. You guys are great. Speaking of great, this first question here is pretty fucking awesome. And it is, on a scale of 1 to 10, what is your favorite color of the alphabet? And the answer is triangle. Yeah. Hope that was the answer you were looking for. The next question is there a band or genre that everyone loves but you hate? And another comment right below which says vice versa. And yeah, there are some easy ones, like a lot of recent pop music I really don't like. Pretty much all hip-hop is really not for me. And there is my all-time least favorite style of music, just ever, and that is techno. I don't even know if it's technically called techno or if it has some EDM specific subgenre name, but generally music that goes and just continues like that with little to no development at all. I think that is the closest thing music can get to like actual cancer. I had a neighbor once when I lived in Copenhagen who would play, I believe it was the same track, it was the same basic beat at the same tempo, like it just going on for like around 12-16 hours a day, like every single day for at least a couple of weeks. And it was the exact type of person that you would expect him to be, like bald, mid-30s, gold chain, wife beater shirt, and tattoos up with the flames up his neck, and steroid pumped and whatever. Just absolute piece of shit. Fucking hate that guy. Fucking hate that style of music. And there is another style of music that I just really haven't gotten into. It's not a bad genre of music like I think techno objectively is. I fucking hate techno. And that is grunge. Actually, grunge has never really hit me. There are a lot of great grunge bands out there. I mean, Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, really fucking good. Nirvana, some of Nirvana's music I will say is really good, but most of it's just not for me. A lot of people like it, and I respect that, but I don't. As for the vice versa, a lot of music genres and bands that people hate, but I love. Well, Nickelback. I made my video on guilty pleasures, and I actually like at least some of Nickelback's music. I think some of it's really good. They're a surprisingly good live band. As for genres, some dubstep I actually think is pretty good. It's surprisingly good to play drums to dubstep, actually. And next question. Are you in a band? And there's a very observant commenter who says it's called Tales from the Attic. And another person who says, if you would make a band, what genre would it be? And would it consist of playing with tables? Tables in a band would be pretty cool. I can see like a sort of dubstep metalcore crossover where everything is tables. That would be pretty cool. Very interesting concept. I might look further into it. But I'm actually not in a band right now. I was in a band called Tales from the Attic. You can find some of our music here on YouTube. I believe there are 2 music videos and there are 2 EPs on Spotify. Check it out on Spotify, preferably. There's more music there, and some of the better songs, I would say, is on Spotify. Especially check out the song Another Fairy Tale. It's got some pretty crazy double pedal action, and I think you might like it. But I'm not in a band right now. I used to be in this band, but it doesn't exist anymore for various reasons. We're all still good friends, the band members, but yeah, we just don't really play anymore. Next question. What is your best and worst live concert experience? Also, congrats on the 5K. I've been following you for a while now, but I believe I never posted a comment. That's odd. I think I kind of recognize your name from somewhere, so maybe you have commented, maybe you haven't, maybe I'm just seeing things. But my best and worst live concert experience is probably the same evening. That might sound weird, but hear me out. I was the drunkest I have ever been, and I went to see this British deathcore band with the guitarist from this band. I think maybe 1 or 2 days before a final exam for high school, and we got super fucking trashed. Pretty drunk when we showed up, and there was some policy with when you have your ticket, you can get 1 free Jaeger shot at the bar. But the bartender, she seemed to like us, so we got around 10-15 shots each in the span of like an hour or whatever, and we ended up being super drunk. We ended up on stage, and people were like, "Oh, they're gonna crowd surf. We'll catch them." But we went behind the band and into their backstage. So we ended up back there, talked to one of the other bands. We were just sitting there like, blah, blah, blah. But they didn't seem to mind. We got kicked out, obviously, but it was fun. So I got the idea that, I think I'll go home now. So I just went, and I had no idea where I was. This was slightly before phones had GPSs in them. And I remember dropping my phone and the battery fell out, and I was too drunk to put it back together. Very fun evening, but also a bit scary in retrospect. I was just walking through Copenhagen, having no idea where I was. I saw a bus somewhere, and I was like, oh, there are a lot of people waiting for that bus. It probably goes one of the right places, my drunk mind said to me. So I ran for it. I got in the front seat, and I fell asleep. And the final destination of that bus was like somewhat close to where I live, so I found a taxi and I drove home. I think my buddy who I saw the concert with is kind of wandering around the entire night looking for me. So that's probably the best and worst concert experience. Very funny to look back at, but maybe not so fun in the moment. And the next question is, what is your opinion on black metal? I view black metal as most other genres of music. Like, there is a lot of good black metal, but there's also a lot of bad black metal. I think a kind of boring tendency with black metal is that a lot of it sounds kind of the same. I think it's a lot of, in order to be classified as black metal, it has to be this, this, and this, and therefore we have to hit all these beats and all these notes. And it can get a bit repetitive, but some black metal bands can like take it beyond that and make something unique out of it. And I appreciate that. Black metal in general, it's not my favorite style of music, certainly, but it's certainly not my least favorite. Right. Hey man, are you ever gonna do a collab with these 2 people? And maybe I am. I don't know who they are, but I'll check them out at some point. And I would generally like to collab with people, but I can imagine I am one of the YouTube musicians that has like the worst production quality. So I don't know if anyone would want to collaborate with me. And it's not like I am really looking at this as a career job or whatever, and I need to be strategic about it and collaborate with people in order to get more views and whatever. It's really not like that. I just do things to have fun. But if someone wants to have fun with me, that would be great. And if not, it's really no big deal. And wow, we're getting political. All right, what's your opinion on communism, comrade? Well, I think any political ideology in its most extreme form, be it like extreme socialism as we see in communism, or extreme liberalism as we see in like hardcore capitalism, I think neither of those are gonna work long term. I think what we have here in Denmark is certainly not perfect, but we've got like a pretty good mix of the two. And I would say if you're gonna run a country like long term, like this is gonna be how society is going for the next couple of thousand years, I think it's important to have some aspects of one thing and some aspects of another thing, because if you're going all out on communism, we've just kind of learned from history that you can't really do that without it ending in shit. And the same thing kind of goes for all out on capitalism. So if we can meet somewhere in the middle, I think that would be great. But if any of you guys are hardcore communists, that's great. You have every opinion to be so. But personally, not a big fan of either extremity, whatever. Next question. Can you tell us about your drummer career, or just your experiences and growing this passion? And eventually, how do you want it to evolve? Well, my drumming career is a very generous term for it. I'd say my drumming career... Can't even say it with a straight face. Well, I began playing in Tales from the Attic, my first band ever, and pretty much only band actually. I played like session work in a few bands. I actually had a record deal with another band, but it never really amounted to anything because our vocalist disappeared and turned up in Mexico. No, Texas. Close enough. Not close enough. A lot of people from Texas are gonna be angry about that. But yeah, I had this band and it was cool. We did a bunch of gigs. We recorded 2 EPs that you can listen to on Spotify. And now I'm on YouTube because I don't have a band, but I would like to present my drumming to someone, and YouTube is a really good way to do that. So that's kind of my drummer career. There's really nothing more to it than that. I would like to have a huge band and tour the world and whatever, but I don't think I am as hardcore into the rockstar dream as, for example, as some of my band members were. And that's one of the things that led to the band dissolving. That was the gap between ambitions. But yeah, how do I want it to evolve? I don't know. If I'll stay at 5,000 subscribers here on YouTube forever, it's fine. Honestly, I would like it to grow because I like drumming and I like showing my drumming skills to other people, and I like doing those weird table videos and 5-style covers and whatever. I like making people laugh. I like entertaining. I think that's what I'm trying to say. Next question. Do you play drums for a living? If so, what did you do to get into the music business? Well, I don't play drums for a living, not at all. I have a real job, as most of your parents would probably call it. Yeah, I don't play drums for a living. I make a little bit of money off YouTube, but it's I can buy maybe 2 or 3 pizzas a week. No, a month, actually. That's the amount of money I'm getting. So it's really nothing at all. But if so, what did you do to get into a music business? I mean, I know a few things about business in general and music business also. I actually have a slightly older series here on this channel called Why Your Band Fails, which was some of the first stuff I did here on YouTube, as an actual thing and not just one-off videos. And the goal of that was actually to help other bands get into the music industry and help bands that don't have the same resources or record deals or whatever to kind of make it, or at least to get further up the ladder. And the next question is, what would happen if Batman gets bitten by a vampire? Well, I guess he would actually be able to turn into a bat and it would be the best day ever. Have you tried eucalyptus drumsticks? And also, YYC in a metal style? Question mark, question mark. In other words, are you the second coming of Jesus? Yes, I am the second coming of Jesus, but no, I've not tried eucalyptus drumsticks. I think I've heard about it a little bit, but I've never tried it. And YYC, I believe that's the instrumental song from Rush, right? I believe it is. I might be wrong. I might not. Who knows? Isn't it already sort of like a prog rock, metal, whatever? I don't think it will make a huge difference, but yeah, it'd be cool. Great. You make it metal. Favorite albums drum-wise, like the material that you obsessed over and got you motivated to play the drums. I think some of the albums that really got me into drumming and really got me into taking drumming more seriously is probably Images and Words by Dream Theater and the S&M Live album by Metallica. there are a bunch more, and favorite albums drum-wise, there is a lot of Breaking Benjamin that actually has really cool drum parts in it. Disturbed as well, very big inspiration to me, drum-wise. A lot of Alter Bridge has severely underrated drumming, and generally pretty much everything by Dream Theater. Next question. Favorite and least favorite metal subgenre. Great videos, by the way, congrats on 5K, one of the best channels ever. Thank you, so glad you guys appreciate what I do. Favorite subgenres is, I wanna say prog metal, but it's probably not. I mean, I really like bands like Dream Theater, Opeth and whatever, but when I'm just sitting down and I just wanted to listen to whatever music, the style of music I will most typically put on is, like Disturbed, Breaking Benjamin, Alter Bridge, Linkin Park, that nostalgic 2000s metal. So edgy, I know. That's probably my favorite. I wouldn't say it's objectively the best metal out there, not at all, but it's my favorite, probably, if I have to pick one. And my least favorite, it's gotta be some, I don't know, I can see the appeal in grindcore, but I just haven't really gotten it. I think I need some more melody and more musicality in my music. But yeah, I see why some people can really get into something that's just but yeah, it's not really for me. What is your favorite band? Who is your favorite metal band? Favorite band? Why? And what are your favorite bands? And what are some of the best concerts you've been to? Let's begin with the concerts. I think the absolute best concert I've been to is actually Hans Zimmer, who is I believe he's German, maybe Austrian, American, German, whatever. He's a composer. He makes movie soundtracks. He did the Lion King, Inception, the Nolan Batman movies, and the Pirates of the Caribbean theme. He makes a lot of really great music, and I saw him live with just regular band, and then a string section, and then a huge choir in the back, and it was the most grand, epic concert I've ever seen. It was absolutely insane. Best concert ever, hands down. And their drummer was like a sort of prog metal version of Santa Claus. It was really weird, but pretty fucking cool. But yeah, favorite bands, I kind of mentioned a bunch of them before with the 2000s metal. I'm also a big fan of Metallica, at least some of it. No, most of it actually, but also Dream Theater, very big fan of Dream Theater in general. I don't think I've ever heard their first album. I haven't listened to the entirety of their latest album, but generally, really, really love Dream Theater. They're probably my favorite band, if I have to pick like a number one. As for the entire... Mike Portnoy versus Mangini. I think there's another question specifically about that. I'll save that for later. So, next question. Is there a drummer who inspired you to play drums? And specific reasons why Lars is your favorite drummer? Lars is probably my favorite drummer. It kind of varies between... I think I made a top 10 list on my favorite drummers, and it's Lars, Portnoy kind of alternating for the number one spot. But I would say the biggest inspiration for me to play drums is Lars Ulrich. It's... a lot of people throw shit at him, myself included, and but he is single-handedly the biggest inspiration for me. So I have to respect that, and he's not as bad as people make him out to be. I would say that. Certainly not as good as other people make him out to be, but he is my biggest inspiration, and that is he is a bippity boopy. I like him. I like Lars. And the next question. I saw your review of Jurassic World 2 and really liked it. I want to know, what are your favorite movies? And also, what do you think of the Marvel movies? So, favorite movies, if I have to pick a number one, it's probably the original Jurassic Park from '93. I really like the sequel, The Lost World. Jurassic Park 3 can go fuck itself. Jurassic World, pretty damn good for what it is. If you watch it as sort of the most expensive B-movie ever, it's very good. And the latest Jurassic World, disappointing, but it has some great moments. Other movies I really like, The Matrix, pretty good, although the plot is pretty stupid when you think of it, but the movie is very good. And then there is actually the movie that kind of inspired me to go to Copenhagen Business School, The Wolf of Wall Street. Very good movie, very great acting from Leonardo DiCaprio. Very long movie. A lot of people are like, oh, it doesn't feel like 3 hours at all. Yeah, it kind of does towards the end. But that's pretty good. There are probably a bunch more. I really like Alien. Predator, I think, is severely underrated. A few parts of it is really stupid, but it's a pretty damn good movie. Arrival came out, I think, 1 or 2 years ago. It's a sort of alien invasion movie, but not really. It's sort of a thinking alien movie. You don't get a lot of those. I really like that one. And there is Whiplash. Very good movie. Check out Whiplash. A must see for any, not just drummer, but just musician. Any kind of person who does something creative needs to watch Whiplash. Like right now. No, right after this video. Then go watch Whiplash. You won't regret it. Trust me. Oh, and Marvel movies. I think Marvel movies, I haven't seen all of them because there are, like, what, 600 now? Around, there are a bunch of them. And I think generally the Marvel movies, at least the ones that I've seen, are, like, I would say slightly above average movies in general. Some of them are extremely good, and some of them are like, yeah, that was pretty good. I forgot most of it, but it was entertaining while it lasted. And there are a few of them that are just... like, what is Thor 2, Thor 1? I didn't really get those, but then you get to Thor 3, you know, the Ragnarok one with the Hulk, and it's like, oh, that was entertaining while it lasted. But then you got movies like Iron Man or Doctor Strange. I really liked Doctor Strange. It was a bit more playful with the logic and the mechanics of the powers and the world building and whatever. I thought that was a good movie. And then Iron Man, because it's just generally a good movie, much more grounded. And I would say it looks better than most of the others because they didn't have the budget to just throw CGI at everything, so they had to use some practical effects every now and again, blended with CGI. It looks a lot better, and it's just a more down-to-earth, more human story. There is no sky beam or the world is ending. We have to send in, I don't know, fucking Suicide Squad or whatever. But Iron Man, really fucking good. Doctor Strange, really good. Winter Soldier, good superhero movie. Sort of slightly above average action movie. A lot of people really love it. I thought it was, oh, okay. Generally, Marvel movies, I guess some of them are really good, some of them are just not. Some of them are very clearly filler. But yeah, next question. It's actually quite weird that you already hit 5k. Congrats! Thank you! I just subbed yesterday after finding Chop Suey, but it's played with tables. My question is, what is your favorite System of a Down song and album? As far as the albums goes, I don't really know. I don't think I know the names of any of the albums, actually. I've just listened to a few of their songs as kind of one-off things, but I really like Tablecicity, Chop Table. There's the IKEA song. It's really good. I think it goes like, they're trying to build a table, they're trying to build a table. I really like that one. Otherwise, Bring Your Own Table. Pretty good. I heard it in Guitar Hero back in the day. If I had to pick one, probably Toxicity. That's a really good song, both lyrically and instrumentally. I like it. Toxicity, that's my pick. And then there is favorite band/artist from Finland. Love your videos. Well, as entertaining as Fintroll is, I would say Wintersun. Wintersun is this, it's a sort of kind of progressive power metal, and they're just really fucking impressive musicians. They're good, check them out. What brand was your first drums and how long did you have them? My first drum set was this kind of wine red pulse percussion set with minor headliner cymbals. I had a hi-hat and a crash. I had to go get a ride like later on, a couple of years later I think. But yeah, it was certainly not a good drum set, but not a bad one either. It wasn't like an actual toy drum set. But yeah, it did the job, and after like 5 years of playing that piece of shit, I bought a DW PDP, like the kind of daughter brand of DW. It's called PDP. It was an X7 Maple kit. 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 toms and a 22-inch bass drum and a matching 14x5 snare drum. A really good set. And the only reason I got rid of that kit was that I got the transparent one, I think 2 years ago? I think I've had it for 2 years, maybe 3. Wow, time flies. Next question. I love your videos, dude. You never fail to entertain me with every new video that comes out. As a fellow drummer, it's really cool watching your content, and I'm sure you'll just get bigger and bigger, just like my dick, right, on YouTube. Also, my question is, what was the first song you learned to play? You know, there are a lot of people who, they'll have a drum teacher, and when they have to learn how to play to music or to metronomes or whatever, they pick some simple stuff, like some AC/DC or whatever, boring Phil Rudd beat, just to learn how to keep time, and that's a great idea, but I started with Metallica. Granted, a very simple Metallica song. I think the first one I played was For Whom the Bell Tolls. I waited a long time to actually apply my drumming to songs and whatever, so I did know like a good deal of drumming when I started playing songs. So I think like some Master of Puppets, For Whom the Bell Tolls. Basically whatever was on Guitar Hero Metallica. I used to take my computer, put it on a big stack of furniture and whatever I could find, and load up YouTube videos of like the chart of Guitar Hero, the drum chart coming towards you, hook up the computer to the speakers and just play to that. That was how I learned, that was how I really got into drumming and got into taking it more seriously. Right, next question. Do you watch football? Nope. If so, which club do you support, and did you watch the World Cup? Nope. How did you feel when Denmark lost on penalties? Also, do you play any games, and what are your hobbies? Sorry for a ton of questions. Apology unnecessary. I don't watch football. I don't really watch sports in general. I have nothing against sports. It's just not really for me. Kind of like grindcore. But as for like games and hobbies, there's a comment coming up. I think it might be the next one actually asking about video games. So I'll save that for slightly later. And other hobbies, I don't really do much other than drumming and well, there's gaming. I am really into movies. Not dissecting them completely, but I like watching movies, really appreciating good movies, also from a technical standpoint. I'm also pretty good with wine, actually. I'm not like the biggest connoisseur of wine or whatever, but I know my wine. I guess that's a hobby. Alcoholism is a hobby in Denmark, yay! Do you play video games? And if yes, what are your favorites? Alright, this one goes out to you and the guy right before. And I think my favorite video games are probably Diablo 2, so like solid number 1, really fucking good game. Age of Empires 2, Heroes 3, Crash Bandicoot. Generally a lot of older games. I really haven't kept up. Have you played Fortnite? Nope. But yeah, Halo, really great series. The original Halo trilogy, as well as Halo Reach, also a really good game, Halo Reach. Halo ODST, I remember playing it a long time ago, but I think I might have been a bit too young to like truly appreciate the atmosphere and the tone, because it's so different from the other Halo games. But yeah, the first 3 Halo games, really good. First Crash Bandicoot, Diablo 2. Diablo 3 was is alright. It was like an unplayable mess on release, but it's gotten some patches, it's gotten a few, I think maybe 1 or 2 expansions, and it's actually a good game now. Not nearly as good as Diablo 2, but it's pretty good. What's the best gift to give to a girlfriend? Well, you've seen the puck running around in some of my other videos, and that was actually my wedding present for my wife. So I would say that's probably the best gift I've ever given anyone. Do you listen to Gojira? If so, what is your favorite song? I don't listen to Gojira. They're a really good band. I saw them live at Copenhagen Festival, I think maybe 1, 2, 3 years ago. Yeah, a couple of years ago. And they were really good, but I can't name any of their songs like on the top of my head. But they're good. It's not something I put on like on a regular basis at all, but if someone were to play Gojira to me, I would probably be like, oh, that's cool, who's that? Gojira. Nice. Hope that answered your question. And the next question is, why did I decide to start making YouTube videos? I don't know. Why did you? No, seriously. I think the first stuff I really did on YouTube was the whole while your band fails thing. And I did that because I just legitimately wanted to help smaller bands like myself at that time. I wanted to help them reach a point where they might be able to make a living of their band. And just to give bands a few tips and tricks and teach them some things that I wish I knew when I was in a band. But yeah, why did I start now? Because I had sort of a break after the Why Your Band Fails until the stuff that I'm doing now. And I think right now it's sort of a substitute for a band, because I'm not in a band now, but I still want people to see my drumming and whatever. That's not to say I will quit YouTube as soon as I get a band, not at all, because I've really grown to love doing this. Yeah, I think right now I'm just doing it because I like it. It's fun. What is the hardest drumming technique? Also, if you had to choose one song that you thought is really hard to play, what should it be? Thanks, love your videos. P.S. Can your wife make a guest appearance in your next video? I would say the hardest drumming technique that I have learned is probably blast beats. That and being able to play double pedals really fast. I think as far as actually just sitting down and practicing a technique and not just playing some random shit because I feel like it, I think blast beats and more advanced double pedal stuff is really the only techniques I've ever really delved into. As for a song that is really difficult to play, but that I want to play at some point, probably the Dance of Eternity by Dream Theater. You know, that crazy Dream Theater song that changes time signature like a billion times or whatever. As for my wife making a guest appearance... Ta-da!
Hi!
There we go.
I thought I would bring the puck. Let's see if he wants to be here.
Is equally as big a part of the family. Say hello.
Say hello.
Nope.
Pucky. Say hello.
There we go.
There we go.
Alright, next question. On a scale of 1 to 10, how old are you? Oh, and what are your plans for a zombie apocalypse? Or are you scared? I will steal your survival ideas. You know, in case there is ever a zombie apocalypse, you can just come hang out with us. That's completely fine.
Well, I think it would be the perfect excuse for making a Harry Potter marathon.
The zombie apocalypse?
Yeah.
In the event that Power doesn't die immediately, that would be great. Yeah.
Why would it?
Then we can do Lord of the Rings afterwards.
No, we would watch it over again.
She is really into Harry Potter, by the way. It's... She has this almost sacrificial altar on...
It's upstairs.
Yeah, upstairs. In my office. God damn it. On a scale of 1 to 10, how old I am? 3? I guess.
1.5?
It kind of depends on when I intend to die. And I'm not so sure about that. I'm thinking around 27, 28. Is a good age to die, so in that regard, maybe 9.
You want to join the club 27?
Not really.
I don't want you to.
I don't want to either. But then again, for a zombie apocalypse, we can't just sit there watching movies all day. I actually wrote a paper in high school in biology explaining how a zombie apocalypse wouldn't really be a big deal.
Okay, so you could sit in the corner drinking wine while I have a Harry Potter marathon.
And those are our plans for a zombie apocalypse. Next question. If you were not a drummer, would you rather be a computer genius or a great soccer player?
Well, have you seen this guy doing sports?
I want to mention myself and balls in some sort of way, but I can't really get it to sound not stupid.
No.
But
no.
But then again, computer genius, I don't know what that, crime solving via computer like you see in, well, I don't watch any of those shows, but I can imagine that you see some crazy shit and that would be pretty cool, but if it's just teaching your grandma how to
use Facebook.
Yeah. Have you tried turning it off and on again? So, not really. I think being a soccer player is pretty fun if you're into soccer.
Yeah,
or football, as we call it in not America.
Yeah, but you have never been that.
No, I've never been that. I am really not this sports
You
type
don't
of
even
person.
watch football.
No. I think the only sport I really get into It's not a sport. I've just recently started watching Age of Empires as an e-sport. That's the closest I get. So yeah, it's probably computer genius with this one. I can see there's a lot more benefits than that. Next question. This one's in Danish, and roughly translated, what would your dream drum set be? And also Slayer or Metallica?
Well,
Metallica.
Yeah.
Slayer is great in its own regard, but Metallica is, I feel they just objectively write better music.
Yeah, and well, also
Lars.
Also Lars. And live, especially.
They're actually pretty good live. Sometimes.
Yeah, Metallica
it's a
can be
bag.
pretty good live.
They can also be
Slayer,
shit live.
I saw Slayer once and it was kind of the worst concert I've ever seen.
I've never seen Slayer. I'm thinking about going to Copenhagen this December to see Slayer, actually.
Yeah, well, when I saw them in Copenhagen, it was like watching, just a CD on a stage.
So like we went to see AC/DC.
Yeah, pretty much.
As for the dream drum set, I would say it would be a 7-piece drum set. Kind of changing out the snare every now and again, depending on what I'm doing. It would be a transparent acrylic DW Performance Series, exactly like the one I have now, in exactly the same sizes. 8, 10, 12 rack toms, 16, 18 floor toms, and a 22 bass drum. Maybe 2 bass drums. No, not two bass drums. I am not stuffing all that shit into my car.
No.
But actually, a funny story about that drum set. Yeah.
He have been talking about that drum set for years.
I really like it.
And one year I have had enough. So I chose to go to the store and talk to the guys about it, and they gave me a good price. So yeah, I bought a drum set for him. And I gave it to him as a Christmas present.
Yeah. Best present ever.
Best girlfriend ever.
Also that. I also gave you a fantastic present.
True that.
I stitched a platypus. I should find a picture of it and bring it up. My question is, can you say hello to Indonesia in your video?
Hi, Indonesia!
I was gonna say, yeah, we can say hello, but hello, Indonesia! Hope you're doing well. Hope you're not... what kind of problems do Indonesian people usually have that we want them to not deal with?
All of them.
All of them?
Yeah.
Right. I hope you're doing well.
I think.
Yeah, hope you're not getting any earthquakes. Hope you're not getting any tsunamis. I hope that whatever food...
Bula! No, that's to Fiji.
Isn't Fiji a part of Indonesia?
I don't know. Maybe.
If Fiji is a part of Indonesia, then Bula. And if not, I hope you're having a great time. I hope you have the time of your life and this is the best day ever. Because you're watching this video.
Because you can watch this video.
Because you have internet.
Yes.
And that instantly makes everything better. Can you say hi to Jules for me, bro? Lol. Tell her it's me, King. Lol. Again. Really like saying lol. But yeah, hello.
Hi. Hi, King.
Mission accomplished. Another one in Danish. Alright, there are a few questions in here. I'm gonna translate roughly again. Oh, I have a few questions. Hope that's okay. It's not! It is okay.
It was one question.
Alright, so this guy, Lauke Larsen, would like to try live streaming himself playing drums. That's actually a really cool concept. I've seen another drummer here on YouTube, 66 Samus, do the same. He is bippity boopy spitzy, eh?
He's Italian.
He's great. Alright, so the budget is not that great, and he would like to know if I can recommend any microphones for a reasonable price, where he doesn't have to do a lot of mixing. I feel like, I use this for recording my drums. I got it for $100, including a bunch of extra gear like this puny little piece of shit tripod and the wind hood for it. And I don't get very good sound at all, and I don't know anything about mixing. But I feel like pretty much any budget set of microphones can produce pretty good results if you know how to tune your drums. Like, if you have good sound going into the mics, no matter how shit the mics are, unless it's this mic.
Yeah, you need to know where to place your microphone.
Yeah, that as well.
Yeah.
But usually, like on the toms, bass drum, snare, and whatever, you have an individual mic pointing down on each drum, so you can't really go wrong there.
No.
Then it should be with overheads and room mics and whatever. But if you're on a budget,
then don't.
Yeah, I would say any budget set of mics, and then spend a lot of time tuning your drums and just making the drums sound great in the room, because that will save you so much energy, and you don't have to mix it that much. I mean, it depends on how good you want it to sound, really. And next part of the question, what are your top 10 favorite bands? Putting it like that on a list, it's more a concept of its own video.
It's difficult.
Yeah. And also, I have actually already talked about this, so revert back to early in the video. And last part of the question, are there any bands from Denmark you can recommend for a person who loves Avenged Sevenfold?
Well, since I'm the one who's the biggest fan of Avenged Sevenfold, I think I should be the one answering that. Mm-hmm. In Denmark, we don't have many bands sounding like Avenged Sevenfold, but I would probably say Volbeat or maybe Defecto.
We heard a Defecto song on the radio here the other day, and I was like, "Wow, Nickelback is really getting heavy."
Yeah, that's.
But Defecto is like it sounds kind of like a slightly more prog version of Metallica.
Yeah, they are trying to be wannabe Metallica.
Yeah, but then again, so are Avenged Sevenfold at this point.
Yeah, at this point.
Yeah.
True.
I really love some of Avenged Sevenfold's music, but the album that came after Nightmare, where they're like,
Stage.
Is that the one? Wasn't there an album in between?
Yeah.
You see, that's how little I know. But,
I'm not that much into.
I remember I listened to half of the albums, and there were maybe 4 or 5 songs that sounded like one Metallica song.
Stop listening to Avenged Sevenfold after the riff died, please.
You know, some of it's actually really good. The Nightmare album is really good. Some of
but the riff wrote that album before he died.
That's true.
So that's okay, but anything else, just don't.
No, so I would say some of the stuff on the stage, and maybe 1 or 2 songs on the album that came before that. But then again,
just don't.
I actually haven't heard. I've heard the song, the stage. I think it's actually the only song from the most recent album. So, not the most qualified to answer that question.
And
but
then
otherwise,
maybe try to listen to Aqua or some like that. Yes, that
or don't. Anyway, I went to see a band called Berserk at this year's Copenhagen. They were really cool. Didn't sound like Avenged Sevenfold at all, but then again, not a lot of Danish bands do.
Maybe Based.
Based, also a really good band. Sylvatica doesn't sound like Avenged Sevenfold at all. It's melodic death metal from the glorious island of Fyn, and it's actually really fucking good.
And then just because, try and look up Foon.
Yes.
Foon.
We're not gonna say any more about it.
No,
but
just find them.
The track Salamander Nils.
Yes.
Do yourself a favor. Listen to it.
Shout out to Foon.
Shout out to Foon. Oh boy.
So, are you fine without me?
Like, in the context of, am I single?
No. In the video.
I think I'll be fine. Thank you for joining, and I hope that was satisfactory for whoever wanted to see you.
Bye, Indonesia!
Bye, wife! Process for learning difficult songs. You know, usually when I learn songs, I just kind of listen to them a bunch of times. I'll put them on a playlist on Spotify, and when I'm driving up to my rehearsal room, I'll just put the song on repeat and just pay attention to some of the details. But then again, mostly when I play songs, like when I just do covers and whatever, I'll change a lot of stuff and infuse it with my own style. So I don't really learn all the small details of a song, but if you really want to do like a step-by-step cover of a song, I would suggest maybe the first time you're listening to a song, just listen to it. Don't write anything down. Just listen and get like a feel for what's going on. Then the second time you listen to the song, maybe write down how long the different parts are. Be like, alright, the first part is like a 2-bar intro, then a 8-bar verse, a 4-bar chorus, and so on. So you get the skeleton of the song written down. And after that, you can, the third time you listen to the song, you might be able to maybe note down as like a notation, note down what is played in the verse, what's played in the chorus, and maybe the fourth and fifth time you listen to the song, you can pay attention to some of the fills and some of the details, like if this part is a little shorter or a little longer, or if there's a lift somewhere or weird fill that does something that corresponds with the guitar or bass or whatever. Those, like the smaller details, you can work on that last, but take the bigger things like the shape and size of the song, how long the different parts are. Start by working on that, then get down the specifics of what's played there, and then the smaller details. At least that's what I would recommend doing. What is your least favorite cymbal in the world? Basically, any beginner brass cymbal is kind of shit. I've bought and sold around like 100 drum sets in my life, and I always find that these cheap, very easily bendable brass cymbals are just some of the worst shit ever. And slightly controversial opinion here, I think the pasty root cymbals, those really thick, huge cymbals, I am not a big fan of those. I think that's like, when it comes to expensive professional gear, those are probably my least favorite cymbals. They work for some things, and some people really like them. If you like them, that's great. I don't. When did you start playing drums, and did you get lessons or teach yourself? Congrats on 5k subs. And any tips for aspiring drummers? Like if you really need to learn rudiments, or if you should just play along to music. And also, did you ever do drum lessons? I did actually do drum lessons for about, I think, 2 years probably. And after that, I thought it was the worst ever. I really didn't want to play drums. Generally, my drumming career has kind of been, I learned how to play drums. I didn't want to play drums. I started playing drums just on my own. I didn't really want to. I've always had these like 1 or 2 year breaks in between, so I've never really been playing just for X amount of years in total. But I think I have known how to play drums for like about 12 years, so a long time. And out of those 12 years, I think maybe 7 years I've like actually actively been playing drums. But yeah, I got 2, maybe 3 years worth of drum teaching, and after that I've just been watching live shows, going to concerts, putting on a Metallica DVD, look at what Lars was doing and try and emulate that. And I think there's no right or wrong way to do it. I would definitely recommend getting a teacher for when you're just starting out, how to, learning the basics, how to hit the drums properly, how to hold the drumstick, and how to get in like all the technique, because you have to get your body used to doing a lot of weird things that the human body was just really not made for doing. And I think having a teacher, especially in the beginning, is a great help. I mean, I teach drums, and some of the things that some of my students have gotten themselves into via my teaching is something that they would never have thought of themselves. And that can really happen to anyone. I think if I got drum lessons right now, I might learn something completely new that will change everything. But I'm pretty comfortable with just being me and just playing music, just playing for fun. But then again, I don't have the motivation or the ambition to be the best drummer in the world. I just want to play drums and have fun. And I think I have like a level of skill that is sufficient for what I want to do. And as for like rudiments and whatever, I have never played. They just sat down with a practice pad and played paradiddles or rudiments or all that. I think the only time where I have actually sat down and been like, all right, now I need to pay attention to what I'm doing. Now I need to pay attention to my technique and how I move my fingers and what specific little things I'm doing, is when I learned how to play blast beats, as well as the fast double pedals, as I just mentioned. Those are probably the only 2 times where I've ever really noticed technique and actually practiced, I would say, because I don't practice drums. I just don't. I just play. Sometimes if I have a very difficult section of a song, like I tried to learn the Dance of Eternity by Dream Theater a couple of years back, that didn't really amount to anything, but I would repeat the same part and just play that. And I guess if you want to be the best drummer in the world, the paradiddles, rudiments, whatever, it's probably a really good idea. But I think the most important thing about drumming is that it's fun, because if it feels like a chore, you're not going to get the motivation to get better, and you're not going to get the motivation to just play for the sake of playing. And I think that's a really big part of it. So if you don't mind playing rudiments, it's probably a good idea to do it sometimes, because I can feel, for example, my left hand is not nearly as fast as my right hand. And that's something that I've been working on like a little bit, but it came far too late in my like process of learning how to play the drums. Next question. Help, I need to finish my math homework. What is 3 times 4? 34. What's the name of the puck, and will we see more of it? And what is your dog's name? Well, this little guy is called... Oh, there we go. Now he's more comfortable. His name is Icarus. And my wife actually came up with the name because, you know, Icarus, the Greek, not god, but just Greek, somebody who made a couple of wax wings and flew too close to the sun. Regularly, pucks have that kind of beige brown color, and so his name is Icarus because he's all black. He's been scorched by the sun, and his face is all flat. You know, he's a puck because he fell from the sky and landed on his face. So that's his name is Icarus, and that's kind of the story behind it. Have you listened to the new Breaking Benjamin album? If so, I'd like to hear your thoughts. Yes, I did. It sounds exactly like every other Breaking Benjamin album, but that's a good thing. I really like it. You like jazz? Okay, sorry, now for real. What music do you find challenging and fun to play outside rock, prog and metal? I think I mentioned before that I had like this phase where I played a lot of dubstep on drums. That was really fun and also challenging to try and fit metal drums into this kind of techno music dubstep thing. And jazz is, some jazz is really good, but I think jazz has this tendency of getting complicated for the sake of being complicated. And sometimes it just gets messy. I mean, progressive metal can get really complicated, but it's usually very tight and very coordinated, whereas jazz is just inherently more improvised and more loose in it. And that's a good thing, I think. It shows more humanity, more musicality in some ways, but it can get a little too much of a clusterfuck for me. And there are a couple of people who would like to know if I play any other instruments, and just what got me into drumming, or why drums. And I think why I started playing drums was that my dad bought a drum set. He wanted to play drums, but that never happened. And so I started taking lessons and I learned how to play it. So it was kind of just a default thing, I think. We had a drum set, I started playing it, and yeah, it was good. But no, I don't play any other instruments. I would like to learn how to play the guitar and bass and maybe make some music just of my own, but yeah, I just haven't really done anything about it. So I only know drums, for now. I think I know the answer, but I'm going to ask anyway. Portnoy or Mangini, and why? Congrats on the 5K. I'm a big fan of both Mike Portnoy and Mike Mangini, but my personal favorite is probably Mike Portnoy. He was one of the drummers that really got me into taking drumming more seriously, and I just discovered him and Dream Theater at like the perfect time. Mike Mangini, really cool guy, fun to watch live, and he's just a great drummer, but he is completely different stylistically from Mike Portnoy. Both of them are really good, but I just prefer Mike Portnoy, because, yeah, I just kind of do. Wonder if you recognize me, as you mentioned. I actually do! Though that's not my question. Oh, okay. My question is, I've started learning drums all by myself. Yeah, I'm a musician already. A guitarist, having been making drum samples for my songs, but I want it to be real. So far I'm doing okay. I'm into hard rock drumming. Would you like to tell me how to approach it, since I've got a very good knowledge of music theory? Alright, so as far as I understand, it seems like you want advice on how to approach hard rock drumming. And I would say, if you want to write some rock drumming yourself, check out some other hard rock bands. Maybe see what the drummer is doing there. Maybe try and play some of their songs, and after you've played some of their songs, try and play their songs in a slightly different way and kind of put your own spin on things. I think that one of the things that's actually really important when you want to write your own material is being able to play something that has already been played and kind of modify it to kind of adjust your body to doing different things, so you develop a larger repertoire of things that you can apply to music. I hope that made sense, but otherwise, just listen to what's going on in the music, try and get a feel for what would make sense here. Do you want a grand open sound of the crash going, or like a more urgent kind of closed hi-hat sound for a specific part? Not entirely sure about the question. As for samples, I'm not a big fan of samples. I've never used it, and I'm never going to. But if you want to put samples in your music, that's fine. But yeah, I hope that was answer enough. Next question.
Do you fuck with slamming brutal death metal?
By the way, congrats on 5k, big boy. Occasionally I do fuck with slamming brutal death metal, but it's not really my genre of choice. What snare do you use? Favorite song by Slipknot? Favorite song just to play? I use 3 different snares, but mostly I would say I use my Tama Metalworks. It's a 13 by 6.5. I also have a 14 by 7 Yamaha recording custom in birch. Very nice snare. And I have a 14 by 8 Pearl vintage 80s snare. Huge fucking beast of a snare, and it has this kind of sound that I just really like for some things. But I would say mostly I use my Tama snare because it's smaller, which is just better for having more space for your legs, especially if you're going fast on the double bass. And it doesn't take up as much space, and you could get like a bigger crack out of it. It's a steel shell and it's a 13-inch, so it's pretty cool for playing some super fast metal shit. And a favorite song by Slipknot is probably Sarcastrophe from, I think it's their latest album. They might have released something in the meantime, but Sarcastrophe, a really good song, really like it. And favorite song just to play. Anything that has some tempo to it and some grooves on the toms going on, like Metalingus by Alderbridge, for example. Pull Me Under by Dream Theater, really cool song to play. And I just did a cover of the Psychosocial by Slipknot. And that has turned out to be one of my favorite songs just to play, because it's, yeah, I just really like it. But generally, something that has a lot of toms going on, a lot of Breaking Benjamin is really cool to play, and Disturbed, for example. I really like that. What pair of socks are your favorites? Please show. And what's your favorite pair of funky socks you have? Well, it's probably these. I think life is too short for boring socks. Do you call yourself Danish or Swedes? I think it might have been supposed to be Swedes, but yeah, I call myself Swedish. I call myself Danish. God fucking damn it. Or, according to Fox News, I should probably call myself Venezuelan. Have you got any weird talents? Yes, I have exceptional control over my tongue. Alright, check this out. Huh? Apparently a lot of people can't do that, but yeah, I can. Go me. Top 5 best Avenged Sevenfold songs and albums, and favorite and least favorite Avenged Sevenfold album. Keep up the good work. I really like Critical Acclaim, Bad Country, Beast and the Harlot, Nightmare, really fucking good song, and the long, very progressive Tim Burton-y one, what's A Little Piece of Heaven, really fucking good song. And as for the albums, I can't rank the albums because I don't listen to that much of it, at least not like full albums in their entirety. But I would say City of Evil and Nightmare are probably my favorite albums, and my least favorite album is definitely whatever came after Nightmare. As I said, I think I've listened to maybe 4 or 5 of the songs, and yeah, it just didn't really, it wasn't for me. Do you have tracks that are fairly easy on Cajon? By the way, great channel. Greetings from northern Germany. Thank you, and hello to you, Northern Germany. Tracks that are easy on cajon. I don't really listen to a lot of music that has cajon in it. I actually don't listen to any music that has it. But if you're talking about converting regular drum tracks into cajon, basically anything that has somewhat simple drumming in it. Let's take AC/DC as an obvious example. Like you can go on the cajon. You can make acoustic cajon versions of pretty much anything. But I will say, if the track has simple drums, you can make a simple cajon track. What do you think about Trivium? I think they're pretty cool. I haven't listened to a lot of their music, but the music I have listened to is good. In your opinion, what are the most underrated drummers in rock/metal? Lars. Except Lars. Oh. Are there any other music YouTubers who you would recommend or want to collab with? I think Mitch Mitchell from the Jimi Hendrix Experience doesn't get nearly the praise he deserves. Everybody's talking about John Bonham from Led Zeppelin, but personally, I prefer Mitch Mitchell, actually. John Bonham is a god in his own right, but Mitch Mitchell, pretty fucking good drummer. If you haven't checked out Jimi Hendrix for some reason, do it. The drumming there is more impressive than the guitar work. I'm just saying. And also, if there are any music YouTubers I would recommend, 66 Samus, another drummer here on YouTube. He also live streams on Twitch, I think. Really cool guy, really cool drummer. He's great. I don't think I watch a lot of music YouTubers. I watch a lot of things on YouTube, but musicians is not really one of them. There is 5 Second Songs who does kind of the same thing that I do with my 5-style covers, only he does it with an entire band. He records drums, guitar, vocals, bass, synth, techno instruments. He records the entire song in its entirety with every instrument in many more different styles than I do, and his production quality is significantly higher than me. So if you like my where I play a song in different drummers, check out 5 Second Songs, because that's kind of where I got my idea from, and he just does it better. I would say he doesn't put as much effort into changing the drums as I do, but then again, he does so many more things than I do, so check him out. Do you have any warm-ups that help you control your feet and hands? And also, what are your warm-ups to play double pedals that fast, just like the Saint Anger cover? I've been trying to play it for like 1 month, and I can't play that double bass. And second, what kind of drumsticks do you use? Right now, I use Vic Firth 5As. Pretty much I play with any drumsticks that are lying around. I think it's a good idea not to get too tied down on a specific size or a specific brand. I mainly play the 5A Nova sticks because they're cheaper. That's kind of it. I prefer the regular Vic Firth 5A, but if you give me a 5B, maybe a 2A or whatever, I'll play with it. I mean, you have to be able to adapt to different things, to different setups, to different cymbals, different sticks, whatever. That's a very underestimated part of drumming. Do I have any warm-ups? Not really. I mean, when I go to my rehearsal room, the first thing I do is to just play some random shit. I won't start by just playing blast beats or super fast double pedals like I did in the Saint Anger cover, but I'll just play some random shit and I'll amp it up, start speeding up as I get warmed up. I don't have anything where I'll just sit down like tuck, 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 like paradiddles, whatever. I think that's boring. It might be more efficient to do it that way, but I think it's more fun to just sit down and play and just start slowly, get your body all warmed up, and once you're ready to do the raining blood thing. And yeah, so that's kind of what I do. And we have the best question here, which is, would you rather shit out a watermelon or piss out a strawberry? And that is a very good question, because, well, a watermelon sounds extremely intimidating, well, as does the strawberry out of the penis, but shitting out a watermelon, like, an ass can expand a lot, but watermelons are really fucking huge. Strawberries are much smaller, but it has to go through a smaller hole. I think this is probably the toughest question of them all, because, wow, fuck my life. Alright, I'm gonna close my eyes and go with the strawberry. Probably wrong answer, I don't know. I don't think there is a right answer to this question. I think I'm going with Strawberry. What are the darkest bands you like? When I think of dark bands, I think of like tonally dark, like dark subject matters. Like some of Black Sabbath's material deals with some pretty heavy stuff. Otherwise, there's like Satanic Assault Division, all the black metal bands that deal with the Satanism, human sacrifice, and all that. Dimmu Borgir, maybe. But yeah, I think Satanic Assault Division is like a small Danish band. It doesn't even exist anymore. That's probably some of the darkest, most grotesque themed bands that I actually listen to. Alright, so this one has a bunch of questions in it, including why are you drumming and what's your dream equipment, and we've already kind of touched on those. And then what band is, in your opinion, the most underrated? And do you do also other things that are not music related? Also, congrats! I think the most underrated band ever is probably Sylvatica, the Danish melodic death metal band that I mentioned earlier. It's actually one of my friends who writes most of their music, and he's the frontman, the vocalist, lead guitarist, all that. And do I do other things that are not music related? Well, I watch a whole bunch of things on YouTube, gaming, movies, all that. I should probably mention some of the YouTubers that I follow. There's Tirsu, Internet Comment Etiquette, Internet Historian. I'm a big fan of some of the movie review channels. Chris Stuckman, YMS, I Hate Everything is partially a movie review channel, but yeah, I watch a lot of things on YouTube. And the next question is, how did you get into metal and when? I probably got into metal pretty early. When I was just driving around with my dad when I was like maybe 5 years old, he would play Rammstein, Metallica and all that. But a lot of metal actually came from gaming. For example, Breaking Benjamin did some of the soundtrack for Halo 2. Godsmack did the soundtrack for, I think, a Prince of Persia, The Warrior Within. I think it's the second Prince of Persia game, in the 2000s where everything had to be emo and edgy. And that's where I kind of discovered metal and like really got into it. So yeah, I got it from gaming, I got it from family. And at that time, before YouTube, when everybody was making World of Warcraft montages on Google Video, I needed some music because I did that. I needed some music to go along with it, and my dad came down like, oh, you can use this. And it was the Metallica S&M album, the live album with the symphony orchestra. And that was some of the first metal where I was like, really, holy shit, this is really good. But yeah, that's kind of how I got into metal. It came from different sources, gaming, family, all that. Do you like the band Death? I don't think I've heard any of their music. Where in Denmark do you live? And also, you make really great videos. And where do you live in Denmark? Beautiful country to spend the holidays. Greetings from Germany. Hello again, Germany. I live in a city called Aarhus. Or rather, I live in a small city outside Aarhus. But then again, it's like 20 minutes from city center. So it's not that far outside Aarhus. I used to live in Copenhagen, but my wife is originally from Aarhus. So we thought, alright, we've been living in Copenhagen for a while, let's try living here for a while. So that's what we're doing now. Aarhus, pretty nice place. If you're visiting Denmark, I would say Copenhagen is pretty cool, but Aarhus just got crowned the European capital of culture or whatever. Pretty cool, nice city. It's like the biggest village in the world, I guess you could call it. And that was all 59 groups of questions. That took a while. This video is gonna be way too long. But yeah, I hope you got the answers you were hoping for, and hopefully you found this video interesting. That's it for now. See ya!